Good morning and hello, trading world. Thanks for joining us here at JMJ Investments, where our goal is to provide an actionable game plan each trading day to help you reach consistent profits. So if that sounds like what you're looking for, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button right now. All right, let's get to today's trading game plan. The title for today is simple: Dead Cat Bounce. Going back to Friday, we began Friday looking for capitulation or a flush down. I think for the most part we got maybe enough of one to suffice temporarily. However, I think we will open up with just a little more to go to the downside before we get a proper bounce underway. There was a lot more I wanted to get to, but the Chiefs bill game was so good it didn't leave me much time for preparation last night. All right, coming into Monday, we could chop our way to a double bottom. The battle to go higher will be above 447 on the spot. The outlook for the week has a bullish bias, which means we only have to close above 437.98 in order for that to come true. Monday as a trading day itself also has a bullish bias, which means pretty much the same thing. We only have to close above that 437.98 for that to come true. Also, as a side note, it appears to be a 3 to 5 day trade window in Bitcoin. This is not, this is a short-term trade. It's not a recommendation to buy and hold. Let me bring up a chart of Bitcoin. Let's see here. We're close to a temporary bottom here to where we could get a pop for the next 3-5 days, a week, maybe a little more, but the target for this trade would be close to about, we'll say somewhere between 36 and 39,000. So that's going to be up here toward this area. So I may take a position in Bitcoin today and come back in the next 3 days to evaluate where we are and whether I want to stay in it a little longer. But I know regardless of what happens when we get above this 36, I'm definitely going to look to take at least half the position off and see what happens from there. All right, let's get back to the SPY. Give me a moment while I bring up the key levels for today. Okay, here we go with the key levels for today, starting with resistance. Jack resistance is going to be the 442 through 443 area. Queen resistance is going to be 447 through 449 area. And king resistance is going to be the 451 through 453 area. Going to the support side or decision areas. The Jack support is going to be 436 through 435 area. And the Queen support or decision area is going to be 432 through 431 area. And King decision area is going to be 425. Again, in order for a bounce to gain traction, it has to get above 447. That's this area here. So we want to look for a breakthrough above this area, and that will give us some traction to fly. Also, because of the volatility, what's going to happen with the day mapping, the volatility is making it extremely difficult to differentiate the day types. As you can see, even on Friday, we had Friday as a downtrend day. But there were several times that it was hard to tell the difference between an expansive range day and a downtrend day. And the only reason that I'm going to keep it in that downtrend day category is because there was no real close above that previous close on Friday. But volatility tends to give us these expanded ranges where even on a range day, just the ranges themselves are ridiculous. We could see, just look at it yourself in regards to the expected move. We came in, I think last week with an expected move, I'm just going to estimate of about 80 points on the S&P 500. If you're looking at the ES itself, futures, 80 points. But when you total it up, we probably moved triple that in the amount of back and forth, or the ground that we covered during the week. So volatility is really giving us some great ranges to play with. That's the good side about it, but the bad side is it makes it difficult to differentiate the day types. So, and I'm also going to try to get to putting together a separate video on the day types and how to take advantage of the different day types. Coming soon. All right. Let's get into today's scenarios. All right, here we go with scenario number 1. We have an expansive range day type structure. We could look to set a decision area or upward boundary around the jack or queen resistance areas. So we could look to take off to the upside. However, it's possible that we may not even make it up to the jack resistance. We could get rejected here at this 439 area. It is quite possible. Remember again that there are so many different variations to a range day. But what I would be preparing for as an expansive range day is to come up to the decision area around the jack resistance and then give us another scare below the jack support area. And it's not clear or whether we push all the way to the queen support area, but it is quite possible. From there, we start pushing boundaries. With that boundary set to the top, if we do start to get a rally or a bounce today, we need to push above the jack resistance area. And then again, in order for this to snowball into a real dead cat bounce and possibly more, we have to break above 447. But I do expect some resistance at that 447 area that'll send us back down, maybe not even down as far as the jack support again, but maybe to retest this 439 area before popping back up to break through that queen resistance area. So that is scenario number one, which I believe has a 55% probability of happening today. So again, be prepared for that. Today is a good day to watch your indicators such as Bollinger Bands or things of that nature. And let's bring up the next scenario. All right, here we have scenario number 2, which is called the rounded reversal day type. We could get a continued takeoff toward the king or the queen or king resistance area and find our midday chop around that point, wherever we stop between this jack and queen resistance area. But one of the key things to look for on this day type, if it's a rounded reversal day type, two unique things. Again, if this is a rounded reversal, majority of the time there will be no fade or closing of the gap, which means we have some work to do before the opening. If we look to open gap up, that's going to be the first issue of why this is not a likely scenario. But if we do get a cash open gap up, we should continue that momentum. And if we continue that momentum, pay attention to your indicators. Pay attention to volume. Because after the second or third bar from the open, you should notice a drop in volume. Even on the indicators or internals, whichever you're watching, you should notice a divergence. As price action is moving up here, you should notice a pronounced divergence here as price action is moving up. And even just the same as we go through our midday chop, you should see the same divergence on your indicators. That gives us the clue that this is a rounded reversal day. The key thing that I would be looking for if we do so happen to get a rounded reversal day, I am going to be looking for the close, whether we get a higher low on the close. If we get a higher low on the close, that gives me a little comfort that we're still headed towards this bounce position. And I've already put on a couple bull put spreads as of Friday, looking for the bounce. And that bull put spread is basically a put spread where you sell the high strike or your target and you buy the lower strike, usually producing a credit. And what we'll be looking for is that higher strike to lose value, and we buy it back for a profit. So that's what we're going to be looking for on the bounce. I will be adding more positions, but the bull put spread is something I like to start with, especially when volatility is this high and I see a bounce, because the premium can get sucked out of those puts fairly quickly, which will produce profits pretty fast on the bull put spreads. That is scenario number 2. Let's go to the final scenario. Alright, our final scenario would be basically the trend day up, which means we have work to do before the open. We have to gain some momentum going to the upside in order for us to open gap up above this area, which was the previous close on Friday. That previous close was 437.98. So we have to open above that. And if we do get that open, we would look for a fade back towards the previous close, where we would find support somewhere on or before the previous close. We could get some sideways chop around that area before reversing and powering up into a uptrend for most of the morning. Usually around midday, we find our sideways chop area, or as I like to say, the midday chop. We basically spin sideways here through the lunchtime hour, then starting off the second half of the day with a head fake up, looking like we're going to continue that morning trend. And then at some point, we come back into a light fade where we don't close as strong as we went in the morning, but we actually fade and give a portion of the rally back. That is our trend day up structure. That's how it would be mapped out. That's how we would be looking for things to happen if it is a trend day up. And one of the things that we like to do if it is a trend day, as soon as we see support being held at or before that previous close, this is where we like to enter our positions. This is where we like to buy our call debit spreads, or I'm not too crazy about it right now, but your straight calls as well here. And in my case, I would be looking to add more bull put spreads here. So that is what we're looking for today. That's the game plan, how we will be looking to attack the day. Again, I want to remind you that the volatility is really going to make it that much harder for differentiating the day types because of the ranges, because of the size of the bars. We could very well push through here and then come all the way back down through here. And it would essentially make everything look as though it was an expansive range day because of how much back and forth we could possibly get. So just want to warn you to be careful about that. Also, in these volatile times, and as I like to say always, make sure you define and know your risk. You do that and profits will come. Again, wishing you a profitable trading day. Have a great day.